What's going on, Sky fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Sky Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Sky related. On today's episode, we're going to be breaking down and going over my thoughts about WNBA All-Star Weekend. What are some of the things that could have been done better? What are some of the things that could have been that were done right? Overall, we'll be talking about that. Quickly winning the three-point contest again. We'll also be talking about the Chicago Sky's game against the Atlanta Dream. All that and more on today's Chicago Sky Central.
Welcome to Chicago Sky Central, and here's your host, Haize.
All right, Sky fans. So we're tuning in after the All-Star weekend, which was a really good weekend. It's good to see the ladies celebrated, but I'll say this, right? The fact that the WNBA held the WNBA All-Star game during the Taste of Chicago in a city that, the weekend before, the weekend after, there's not much going on, did raise some questions. Right now, one could say as well that, you hold an event while there is other things going in because maybe people are more likely to stop by, but it raises the questions, and some of the conversations that have been had around it is how the WNBA markets their product. The product on the court is great, right? Let me be clear. There is nothing wrong with the product at all that the WWE that the WNBA presents at all. Not a single thing. It's a great product. It's a great game. It's great competition. Everything like that. It's amazing, right? For people who really do support the W, we know the work that these ladies put in and week out for the WNBA and what this means to them, what it means to fathers of women, of little girls, myself, right, who has daughters, things like that. It's important to see that representation. But it does leave a lot of questions and a lot to be desired at times with how not only the game is marketed, how certain things are handled with the game. The fact that the WNBA operates at a loss every single year of double-digit millions, right, of $10 to $11 million every year that has to be subsidized from the NBA should say enough about what is going on with the game. Now, I'm not one to sit here and say, to mansplain or say, hey, you need a man in there. No, it's not that. I don't care who it is. I don't care what the gender is, right? But there's clearly some room for opportunity. Now, the game is growing, right? We know that viewership has risen, right? Awareness of the game is on the rise as well. And those type of things are rising up. But there's still a lot to be left desired at times. And the reason why, it comes to me is because I know what the work these women put in. I respect the work these women put in. I respect the work that people are doing to grow the game and things like that. But the fact that there were people who didn't even know that the WNBA All-Star game was going on, that have interest in the league. Right? Not maybe not follow a week in and week out, but have interest in the league. There are some things that need to be said and need to be worked on, in my opinion, when it comes to that. But enough of the negative. Let's get on the positive. Kelsey Plum winning the MVP of the All-Star game was well-deserved. It's good to also see her teammates and stuff imitate her and do that type of thing afterwards. If you guys got to see that get posted, fun thing. She deserved it. Sylvia Fowles and NECA's dunks in that game. Now, Sylvia Fowles, that was a great one, and we'll talk about her and Sue Bird and their send-off here in a second. But it was really good to it just was a fun thing to see in the game. Now, NECA's dunk, there are a lot of people who are questioning if NECA's dunk was actually a dunk. Now, I am on the opinion that, to me, looking at it, that was not a dunk. But I understand that some people do want to label it a dunk, whatnot. Either way, it was a feat of athleticism. Either way, regardless of any of that. Let's be clear here. It was a feat of athleticism, and it was fun to see in a game that was overall fun. Getting Sue Bird, getting Sylvia Fowles and their send-offs and the respect that they've had and what they've done for growing the game as well. And Sue Bird being in the league as long as she has, it was amazing to see. And overall, the weekend to me was a success. I love to see the representation of how many Chicago Sky were in the game and quickly winning three-point contests, things like that. Now, I did hear that is it true that she was just asked to participate because she was going to be there? Now, that is a bit of a slap in the face, in my opinion, but becomes the first four-time three-point winner in WNBA history, and it's well-deserved. She's a great shooter, great player in general. I mean, that's just whittle her down to a shooter. But overall, I enjoyed the WNBA All-Star weekend, and, it's some of the times of some games, things like that, I can have little issues with. But overall, like I said, the product of the WNBA is never going to be something that I personally can take any issue with, because the product on the court is amazing. The product on the court is great for people who enjoy WNBA basketball, just enjoy basketball overall. I don't see how people could ask for more. It's great. And as the league continues to grow, as awareness continues to grow, I hope that everything continues to grow for this game and these women get the recognition that they deserve for the work that they are putting in every single day, every single night. And it's still, part of it. And I don't want to make this a high horse type thing when it comes to, talking about the WNBA, but the fact that we're still even in a place where most of these women still have to go overseas to really get any type of money, right? To really get, and then they get paid more than that. It's, it is what it is. But Team Wilson pulled that out. Team Wilson was the one that I believe I had picked to win this game. I just enjoyed it so much. It was a really, really fun game, a fun night, a fun evening for WNBA basketball, and just a culmination of everything that this sport is and can be. Jones, 29 points in this game. Mieseman with only 8 points in the game. Kyle with 8 points. She only played 17 minutes. But we know Candace Parker, 15 points in the game. The Chicago Sky were well represented in it, and it was good to see and have the weekend that was dedicated to these women and the work that they continue to put in to grow this WNBA game. And I just want to see it get the most recognition and be in the best form possible, because, listen, this is some of the best basketball you see, especially when it comes to X's and O's basketball and coaching and things like that. Just the fundamentals that we sometimes overlook in the NBA side of things. And you guys know I also cover the Bulls very heavily. It's just good to see X's and O things. But let's get into some of the other things going around the WNBA before we talk about the game. The Chicago Sky are still number one in the WNBA power rankings, well deservedly so. Actually, one of the things that's more surprising about it is that the Aces have completely fallen in it. But let's talk about the top five. So of course we have the Chicago Sky at number one, 16-6 record right now. The Seattle Storm move up to number 2 after in the previous ranking being number 4. They sit at number 2. 15-8 is their record. The Connecticut Sun, 14-8 right now. They were ranked number 3 last week as well. The Washington Mystics move up to number 4 as well, 14-10 for their season. But the biggest, it's not really question mark because it's not surprising, but Las Vegas Aces, who have been leading the league most of the season, ranked number 2 in the last power rankings, dropped all the way down to number 5. They've lost 5 of their last 7 games as they look to correct the ship. They have a big matchup coming up against our very own Chicago Sky in the Commissioner's Cup coming up soon. As they continue to fall and the Sky continue to rise in the rankings, come on now, it makes me smile and it makes me happy to see because, hey, our Sky, we're the best team in the league. We're the deepest team in the league as well. So it's good to see. Well, I don't want to yuck anybody else's yum. I don't want to shit on anybody else's parade, but the Chicago Sky cleared number 1 as the Las Vegas Aces dropped down to number 5. But let's talk about our Chicago Sky beating the Atlanta Dream last night, 90-75 after a 30-point fourth quarter in which they needed every bit of that because, hey, the Chicago Sky, while they did win that first quarter, they lost the second quarter 24-19 and then lost the third quarter 18-16 and played a great fourth quarter in which the defensive intensity of this game was at an all-time high throughout most of the game, if not all the game. This was an intense game. Candace Parker, very passionate in this game. You just felt it and felt the intensity that both teams wanted to win this and maybe riding still high off the All-Star weekend. But, hey, everything was locked in this game. Candace Parker with 31 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, only 1 turnovers, plus a plus-minus of plus 21. This was Candace Parker's, I think, highest scoring game this season and one of the best games that she's played as a member of the Chicago Sky. This was a great game for Candace Parker, and she showed up in every stretch form of the fashion. She was 12 for 20 from the field, 3 for 8 from three-point range, 4 for 4 from free throws. She played her butt off in this game, giving it all for the Chicago Sky. But one thing you already know, Kai Copper, for me, one of my favorite WNBA players in the future of the Chicago Sky, if you ask me, 9 for 14 from the field overall, 2 for 2 from three-point range, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 turnovers, and 23 points from Copper in this game, just playing amazingly. And her and Candace Parker led this team to victory, put the team on their back, and really both hitting big buckets down the stretch of this game to get the Sky back in this game after it didn't feel like they were going to have it. They were fighting tough, playing tough defense, and everything like that. But it just, listen, it takes, sometimes you need your stars to really be stars to win you games. And that's what happened with the Chicago Sky. Other big, Mieseman had 10 points. She had no points in the first half. So really coming on in the second half, 5 for 9 overall from the field, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 block. She played great. Quickly with 9 points as well. Vandersloot didn't have the best game as far as shooting-wise, 2 for 6 from the field, but she did almost everything else on the court. 1 rebound, 5 assists, 2 steals. She played really, really great defense over the course of it. One of the biggest things and question marks that I didn't expect, Dana Evans only played 1 minute in this game. 1 minute. But Rebecca Gardner, 18 minutes, 5 points off the bench. Alaman with 11 minutes and 2 points off the bench. And then Azurá Stevens with 3 points off the bench. So not a big time scoring from our bench unit in this game. But again, it was more than just the scoring wise. They played in, they hit a lot of defense. Rebecca Gardner played her butt off, especially in that fourth quarter, helping be in some key things down the stretch of this game. Listen, this was not an easy game. And even though the final score ended up being 90-75, it's not really an indication of how well and how close this game was throughout most part of this game. And when the Sky started to pull away, they never looked back. They executed. This is what makes the Sky the best team in this WNBA, in this league, in the W, right? Any way you want to call it, I just covered all three. The way that what makes them the best is just how they play together, how they can kick it into another gear that a lot of teams just don't have. And when they get it in, they keep that foot on teams' necks and use their depth. Again, it's not always going to be scoring. It's going to be defense. It's going to be activity. It's going to be, while players may not have gave their normal contribution scoring-wise, hitting key baskets or doing key things down the stretch of this game. This was an intense game. This was a well-fought game. And this was a game that honestly was one of my most enjoyable games watching this season. Just the whole up and down of, the Sky had the biggest comeback in WNBA career and WNBA history earlier in this season, so that no lead is safe with the Chicago Sky because of their depth, because of the experience as well on this team, which is something that I don't do a good job enough talking about here, I can admit, is the experience on this team. All that combines, it's just a great product and a team that you can never, ever, ever count out, especially after, they lost a game, won a game before going into the All-Star break. But the Chicago Sky on a great winning streak right now. And it's great to see. They feel like the defending champions, right? They feel like a team that is on a championship level and just knows how to get wins. And do they coast by sometimes? I don't know if I would call it coast by. They do give up some big leads at times that they shouldn't. I'm not going to necessarily call it coasting. I have more respect for them than that. But listen, this Chicago Sky team is legit. Winning 10 out of their last 12. 10 out of their last 12 as we head towards the back stretch of the season to get ready for. We are on the last stretch of games. We got the Commissioner's Cup still coming up, things like that. But this is a great time to be a Chicago Sky fan. And listen, our team is doing what needs to be done. And that's really what everything boils down to. They are taking care of business. They are playing like the defending champs. Candace Parker is playing like the veteran that she is, stepping in when we need people to step in, hitting big shots. In this game, just Candace Parker, just everything that she did, like chipping at refs, chipping at players, like even sometimes throwing little jabs at her own players, saying she didn't have skates when a pass went over her head. Everything. Candace Parker is passionate. She's locked in. And I really hope this is not her last season. I hope that she comes back because, hey, what we're seeing with Sue Bird, Sylvia Fowles, Candace Parker deserves to get a send-off in a season that we know it's going to be her last season going in, and she deserves a big send-off in this, but they are playing very well. Next up, we got the Los Angeles Sparks coming up tomorrow at 10:30 p.m., which is a late game my time. But because it's a late game, it actually may work in our favor. I'm going to try to get a live stream up right after that game goes live. So be on the lookout for that. That game does air on Facebook Live. So be tuned in for that. You guys know how I feel about WNBA games airing on Facebook Live. That's just one of my personal things. But excited for the game nonetheless. It's going to be a good game, I think, and I'm really looking forward to it. So be on the lookout for a post-game live stream as I keep trying to do more of them. And every time I try to do one, something happens. But aiming to do a live post-game show for that one. But thank you for tuning in to Chicago Sky Central today. I'm Haize. You can follow the show at Chicago Sky Pod on every social media platform, which I think is just Twitter at this point. You can follow me personally at CEO Haize, that's CEO Haize. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, Chicago Sky Central at gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave us a text and our voicemail, the number to do so is 773-270-2799. Thank you for tuning in to Chicago Sky Central. I'm Haize. Make sure you guys continue to support the W for everything these ladies do. But I'm out like I like to end every episode on. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.